welcome to the Route de Rhum race village. It's 6 days before the start of the Route de Rhum, and Joff and I have come down early in the morning on a Monday morning to give you a bit of an insight into what the IMOCA fleet looks like for this race. Now, there are 37 entries in the IMOCA class for the Route de Rhum, 138 entries in total, 37 IMOCAs. That's the biggest IMOCA fleet ever. So we're going to give you a dock walk to show you the runners and the riders. Now, for those of you who have been watching our channel for a while, you know we did a dock walk for the Vendée Arctique. So we're not going to feature the same boats again, we're just going to show you the new boats, and if you want more information on the other boats, you can refer back to our Vendée Arctique dock walk in the link below. So, starting off, brand new boat here. This is the new Chorale. It's a Sam Manoir design and causing ripples. Do you want to talk about the rudders, Joff?
Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I've been busy preparing our boat. But yeah, a very innovative boat. I think probably the most innovative boat. It's got a big team. Had the same sponsor for a lot of years, so really kind of know what they're doing, and a pretty big outfit. So yeah, points to know. It's got this sort of V rudder system, which again I don't know too much about, but effectively it's trying to pick the back of the boat up and sort of stabilize the boat when it's foiling. I don't know if you can see, but you can just see the prop there. The engine's incredibly far back on the Manoir boat, just to get the weight back. But there's loads of novel features on this boat. If you see the deck spreaders, they've got them really low. The mast space is incredibly low in the deck. They're just trying to reduce the centre of gravity of the boat in the moment of the rig and sails. So low, there's just loads of little features here. So obviously the last boat I think probably failed to deliver over the course of its life, and that's now got a new owner. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this one goes.
And definitely this is one to watch in the race. They launched in June, I think it was. So they did the Défi Azimut, but I think it's fair to say they're still working the boat up, but it's going fast, and Jeremy will definitely be kind of pushing at the front of the fleet, so it's definitely one to watch. Moving down the dock then.
I don't know if you can just get the scale of the IMOCA fleet looking down there. It's quite a sight, pretty impressive.
So next one down the dock here is D&D. Again, it's another new boat. I think they were the first one launched this year, weren't they? D&D?
Yeah, it's out of the mould of Apivia, and I think the Apivia team were sort of quite involved in the management and the build of it as well. So you can just park next to Apivia actually, so you can see the similarities. In fact, the only difference I can see is that one's got its iridium on the left and one's got it on the right. So,
so this is a Verdier design, and the skipper is Maxime Sorel. So Maxime sailed in the 2020 Vendée in a non-foiling boat. So now he's gone foils and he's gone big.
Yeah, it's a proven design, and again they had really good involvement from Apivia in developing this boat. So I think it's going to be a real solid performer. It's got a nice finish actually. You can see the clear coat carbon fibre finish, which I think is probably the first.
It's a good looking boat, isn't it?
First French boat I've seen with that level of finish actually. It's nice.
And next to it, as we said, this is Apivia, so Verdier design, skippered by Charlie Dallan. And this is Charlie's last race in this boat. So he's got a new boat coming, and Banque Populaire have bought this boat, and Clarisse will be racing it next year. Clarisse is shortly going to have a baby. Good luck, Clarisse. I think it may actually arrive during the Route de Rhum, hence she's not racing. But this will be Charlie's last race on this boat, and definitely he is a hot favourite to win. Everyone is going to be chasing him.
Yeah, he's won everything this year, so he's the one to beat.
So next on the dock then, another newly launched boat. This is the new Maitre Coq. It's a Verdier design, and it's yet to be raced. Wasn't launched that long ago. Yannick Bestevan is the skipper. He was the winner of the 2020 Vendée. it's quite cool looking at the foils next to each other there. You can see they're not that dissimilar, are they?
They're not. No, it's just this is yeah, later generation than the Pivia ones, and the Pivia ones, in fact, are grandfathered for this race because they're too big under the normal under normal rule now. So Matricog's actually out the mould of 11th hour, so there's quite a few boats where they've shared the mould, which obviously saves cost for both teams and saves resources as well, I guess. But yeah, it's a nice boat. He's a solid performer. He's very experienced team. So it's probably more of a Vendée man than a Route de Rhum man, I would say.
I think that's probably fair to say. And with this being his first race as well, emphasis is going to be on finishing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wander past L'Ami Caline, Arnaud Boissier. So this is the old boat of Sam Davies, now Arnaud's. It's a 2010 VPLP Verdier design, and you can find out more about that on our previous dock walk. And now we've arrived with Sam Davies, Initiative Coeur. So this is Sam's new boat, again not launched that long ago, so she has raced it in the Défi Azimut, which was kind of 48-hour race and then speed trials out of Lorient. So this is a manoir design, and it's the same as Louis Berton's Bureau Valet. And interestingly, Sam is it's the first time that Sam's actually had a new boat built for her, which is quite cool. You know, it's something I think she's been quite passionate about for a long time, having a new boat so that she could adapt it to be specific for her and suit her. So it'd be really exciting to see how she does in this.
Yeah, I think she was one of the first people out the last race to sign up for a new boat, and she obviously liked the Sam Manuard and just pressed the go button pretty much straight away, I think, as soon as the race was over. Obviously big backing from her sponsor. I think it's her third boat under that sponsor.
Yeah. And then next on the list is Guyot Water Family. So this is Benjamin Detraux. Again, more information about this in our previous dock walk. Benjamin, fantastic sailor, really talented. The interesting thing here, though, is this is the first boat in this row that is going to be doing the ocean race. So straight after the Route de Rhum, there are 5 boats that are departing to head into Alicante to take part in the ocean race. It's a lot of pressure on those skippers because they've got to get through the Route de Rhum, finish the Route de Rhum, turn around, get to Alicante, and then get ready for the ocean race. So I think that's a lot of pressure not to damage the boat during this race, and kind of balancing overall objectives. I think that's probably quite hard.
Yeah, I think it gives them 3 weeks to get the boats ready for Volvo by the time they get to Spain, but it's 3 weeks over Christmas when obviously most people are on holiday. So if they have any big issues, it's going to be very difficult for them to be ready for the ocean race.
Final one on this pontoon, this stretcher pontoon, is Prize Me and Group. So this is Giancarlo Pedotti. And this boat is effectively a sister ship to Medaglia. But Giancarlo has had his bow modification done this year. So you can see how his bow rises up out of the water. And that's so that it doesn't bury so much when the boat catches a wave up when it's going super fast. And this is Giancarlo's last race with small foils. He'll be changing to big foils at the early part of next year, like us. So now we have got to Rodolphe Seffo. So Rodolphe is a Guadeloupean sailor. This is his second Route de Rhum. And this one's an Owen Clark, isn't it, Joff?
It is, yeah. Many moons ago, it was Mike Golding's Ekava in 2008, sister ship to Aviva that I was working on at the time. So it's had many transformations and is unrecognisable, and it's been sat in the Caribbean for a while, so I think it's faded a fair bit on the paint. But yeah, good luck to the guy.
So then we've got freelance.com. So this is Girek Sude, non-foiling 2007 far boat, and we covered this in our Vendée Arctic dock walk, so you can find out more about that.
He's had a really good year because the previous races have all been quite light and a bit of upwind boats like his, and he's done a very good job of it, have done actually very well compared to the foilers.
Yeah, I think there's kind of 3 guys in non-foiling boats, Girek, Benjamin and Sebastian.
Yeah.
Have all done really well this year. This one is Catan. I don't know much about this one.
So I think it's like a 2003 Lombard, as originally for Roland Jourdain as Sill, I think. And it's been out, I don't think it's been in an IMOCA race for, I don't know, 10 years probably. It has the private owner that was just sailing out of France for pleasure for a lot of years. And I think a few people have tried to buy it for a campaign. I don't think it can qualify for the Vendée Globe now. So it's probably just for this race and some other stuff, I guess. It was quite radical at the time though.
And then moving on to another new boat, although this is the oldest of the new boats. So this is
yeah.
Kevin Escoffier's Hull Sim, formerly PRB. So launched earlier this year, about May time, I think. It's a Verdier design, built at Carrington's in the UK. A little bit of history on this one.
Yeah, it was originally going to be for the ocean race. So I think it started in 2019. And then the owner pulled out the ocean race. The boat sat there for a while. And then I think as soon as PRB had recommitted to Kevin after the last Vendée, he was pretty quick to snap it up. So I think he probably got a good deal on it. He changed the bow because obviously designs evolve. So he sort of did the first 6-7 meters, I think, as a new bow. And I think a lot of the deck detailing hadn't actually been done. So probably would have been planned for a more fully crewed layout. But he had the time and budget to make it suited to the solo sailor. So I think this is definitely my new favourite boat, partly because we're also getting the same foils as him, which have already started build at CDK. So but the boat's immaculate. Kevin's incredible. He's an engineer by profession and a skipper, so he's sort of got the best of both worlds, and has put a lot of effort into the build of this boat.
And he will be heading off to do the ocean race straight after the Route de Rhum. But I definitely think this is going to be one to watch in the race.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pressure. It's a new boat and straight into the ocean race, so a big ask.
So Fabrice Amadeo in Nexans Art and Fenetra. We covered this one in the Vendée Arctique. And here we have Justine Matreau. So Justine is new to the solo IMOCA fleet. But she's been solo sailing for a long time, very successfully. I did the mini transat with her in 2013. She came second. And she's been sailing with the 11th hour race team as part of their full crew for the ocean race, and has now bought the old Charal. So you can find out more about this boat by looking at Charal in our Vendée Arctique dock walk. And Justine's really got this boat going, so I think this will be a hot entry to watch in the Route de Rhum. And then she's heading off straight after that to join 11th hour on their boats for the ocean race.
Yeah, I was never a massive fan of this boat, I have to say, but then it was always beset with problems, really. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes under new ownership. It's got quite old foils now. They're from obviously generation before the last Vendée Globe, so I don't know whether she's got it in a budget, whatever, to change those, but I'm sure she'll do very well nonetheless.
So this is Fives with Louis Duke, who was a Vendée Arctique entry, who's got his Halloween decorations out. And now we've arrived at the new Malizia, Boris Herman's boat, not long launched.
No.
And this is a VP. This is the only new VPLP design, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It is built a multi-class. The first thing you notice about this boat is it's incredibly ugly. But obviously that has nothing to do with speed, but it is ugly. Yeah, it's a shame. No, new boats, I think especially on this boat, they've had to add quite a lot of volume high up for the 180 rule, so that they self-right if they end up upside down. So that's why the coach reef on this is so big. That's the only explanation for it.
Well, that is why, isn't it?
That is why. But again, they're off to do the ocean race. It's a new boat. I don't think Boris has done a lot of single handing on this boat, probably because they've been training for the ocean race, which I think is probably more important to their program this year. So I would, and he's a pretty steady racer anyway, so I'd imagine he'll take it pretty relaxed in this race to preserve it for the ocean race.
Group Setan here, again covered. This is Manu Kuzan, non-foiling boat. Group Acasil is next, sister ship to our boat, and in the same configuration as our boat, so small foils and no bow modification yet, but I believe Damien is going to do all of that this winter. And then we're on to Linked. So this will be Thomas' last race in this boat. He has sold it on, we believe, and we'll get a new boat next year. And Thomas, I think, is, he's always been nipping at the heels of Charlie. So I think he's going to be really going for it to try and win the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess him and Charlie neither of them have got anything to lose, have they?
No.
So it would be nice to see him get it, because again, it's a really nice boat. He's done really well consistently, and yeah, it'd be good for him to get the limelight, I think.
So this one, Lazare or Lazare, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So 2008 Fino Conch boat. So we saw this one earlier in the season, raced as Banque Populaire, and now it's rebranded and it's being skippered by Tanguy Le Turquet. And this is Tanguy's second race, so he did the Defi Azimut in this race. Tanguy, interestingly, is Clarice's partner, and so he will be racing to the finish so he can get home for the birth of their baby.
Yeah, it's got a lot on.
And then we have Fortinet Best Western. So this is Roman Atanasio. So it's a 2016 VPLP Verdier with big foils.
Yeah, it was Boris's boat in the last race, and yeah, did very well consistently, didn't it? So don't know how Roman's got on this year, but
DMG Mori Global One Kojira Shiraishi. Again, full details on this one on our Vendée Arctique dock walk, but this is the sister ship to Justine Matro's team work.
yeah, you can see how quickly the foil shapes have changed. I mean, these were, I think this was probably first generation foils for the last generation of boat, similar for Boris's old boat. But yeah, very angular, and yeah, the difference is phenomenal in 4 years, really.
And here we have Isabel Joshka, MACSF. Again, full details on that on the Vendée Arctique dock walk. And Monoyer, duo for a job. Benjamin did incredibly well in the Vendée Arctique this year by choosing a route to the east. And he's just been sailing consistently well in this boat. It's a really nice boat. It was Banque Populaire in the 2020 Vendée, and it's doing him well.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Had a lot of support at the skipper's presentation last night.
Again, we've covered this one before. So this is Comme un seul homme, powered by Altivia. This is Eric Bellion, and Eric has a new boat in build, a new non-foiler in build, which he's building with Jean Le Cam. He's very excited about it. Last night he was showing me pictures of his new boat and his baby. Wasn't quite sure which one he was most proud of.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think this boat will probably be put to the paddock and probably won't race the next race, which is a shame because it's probably one of the quicker non-foiling boats. Did very well in the last race under Jean Le Cam, so it's probably the end of the life of that boat, I suspect.
And then we move on to the most beautiful boat on the dock. So this is my last race with small foils. We finished the Route de Rhum, turn around, head back across the Atlantic, and for the first half of next year we will be installing our big foils, which are the same as the ones on Holcim, Kevin Escoffier's boat. So interestingly, I think the big foils will have show more of an advantage on the shorter races, like the Route to Rhum, which is effectively a short race. So on paper, I think out of the 37 entries, I'm kind of 20th on paper in terms of the design and the projected speed of the boat. So that's kind of why we're changing to big foils at the end of this season.
More like 30th for me. It's more like 30th, isn't it?
Oh no, I looked it up. It was 20th. Yeah.
Really? With all the new boats?
Oh no, you're right. Might be 30th. Here we have Bureau Valet, Louis Burton, San Manuel Design, and again, I think Louis is going to be one to watch in this race. He's kind of never quite been up there so far in the season, but he's definitely got it in him. He puts his foot to the floor, and it's a good boat. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in a slightly longer race.
Yeah, they've had to borrow a mast because they broke a mast early on in the season, if not end of last season. So they've been on a borrowed mast since then. So I don't know whether that's holding him back, but spoke to his wife yesterday. He's done a lot of sailing up to July, and then he sort of throttled back for the last bit of the season. But yeah, interesting to see what he does.
And for everyone kind of thinking about the masts is, you know, they're one design masts. There's only one manufacturer. There are now 2 molds, but there's a bit of a bottleneck on mast delivery. And so not that anybody goes out thinking, I don't care, I can break my mast, but it's definitely in the back of all of our minds. End of the season though, you know.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got, I mean, it's why I guess is why like Pip Hare and Tom Rion are going to, and Linked Out are going to have a good race because they've both got new boats coming, so they're automatically qualified for the next race. And they're both selling their boats. There's nothing holding them back. Obviously, we need to finish this race to qualify. Bureau Valley probably needs to keep that mast in the boat. Everyone, you know, there's not many people in the fortunate position where they can just push and push as much as they'd want. You know, everyone in the fleet would want to push, pretty much. And there's
long-term objectives.
Few of them that can, which is a shame, really.
So here's a boat we haven't seen on the racetrack for a while. This is Rhum.
Yeah, a massive budget boat. Never really lived up to its potential, I think it's safe to say. A lot of problems, and in the last race, in fact, it hit, I don't know, we don't know what it hit, do we?
No.
But it hit something really hard and basically ripped the keel bearings out. And the keel was, sort of half hanging on when they pulled it out of the water. So a lot of rework, a lot of composite work to rebuild the boat there. And so they'll probably be on the back foot as ever. I think it's just a beast of a boat and it's hard to manage. And yeah, but we'll see. But very interesting concept, very different to the rest of the fleet.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've got ladders to get out of cockpits.
Yeah. It's probably not the safest cockpit design.
It's crazy boat.
A few boats. Bureau Valley's got 2 mounted, Rhum's got 1, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's solid state, but it's basically a wind instrument that's a lot less vulnerable than our normal ones, which are at the top of the rig, and invariably we have problems with. So I have seen quite a few on the dock. So it'll be interesting to see how that works in practice, and if it works, then I'm sure we'll get one, because for Pip had problems with the wind in the last race, and it's just a nightmare for the sailor. So anything we can do to reduce the chance of that happening, we will do. So the next 3 boats we have seen before. So we've got Human, sailed by Antoine Cornick, and then Hublot. You spoke to him quite a lot the other day, didn't you, Pip? He's got he's sort of finally getting to grips with the boat, I think he said. Yeah, I think he's starting to fly with it. Had a good delivery down, but I think he's very much enjoying sailing at the moment. And now we're moving on to another
newcomer to the Amoca fleet as a skipper. Joined this year. This is his second race. So this is Oliver Here Racing. Ollie was boat captain to Alex Thompson for quite a while, so he's very familiar with the Mockers, but this is his first time with his own team. What do you know about this boat, Josh?
I think it's probably the most travelled boat. It was Gitana originally built in New Zealand, and I think they sailed it back from New Zealand, and it's done a lot of Barcelona races. It's done most Vendée Globes since 2008. Had a lot of work done to it. Yeah, it'd be good to see him go. It's probably quite heavy, I suspect, that boat. But yeah, it's his first go at it, so.
And then the Hungarian skipper, Zabi, here on Joff's old boat.
On my old boat.
And then another Vendée Arctique participant, Seb Marset. So this is Cap Agir Ensemble. And Conrad Coleman, formerly V&B.
Yeah, he had both those early races in the year. He did really well, I think. Non-foiling boat, but I think pretty smart tactics. And yeah, for a non-foiler, he was doing very well.
So this is the Chinese sailor Zhu Jinkun. This is actually his second route to Rhum. He was Chinese Sailor of the Year last year. He is a Paralympian, so he's missing the hand on one arm. And this is the old La Fabrique.
Yeah, Alan Rora's boat from the last race.
Fino Conch, yeah?
Fino Conch, I think, is originally Brit Air. So Armel Leclerc's boat from 2008, which did really well, actually. That was pretty down to Armel, I guess. Early on in its career, and then that quite heavy, I think, probably now. Alan did quite a lot of work to it, I think, for the last race. But yeah, some pretty solid boat, I reckon. It's fine.
And now we've moved on to it's actually, Sam Davies obviously is British, so this is our third British entry. And this is James Hereda. He's new to the fleet this year. This will be his second race. And what can you tell us about this boat, Josh?
I was involved in the build of it. It's the 2067 Hugo Boss for Alex Thompson. Fino design. Fino Conch design. And again, it's been reworked. It was Stefan
Le
De Raison's boat for the last race. He spent quite a lot of money on it, I think. So I suspect it's probably, for that age of boat, I suspect it's probably in fairly good nick. I think probably most of the systems would have been changed. Not sure what rig it's got in. It's got a classic rig. It's a pretty wide boat. I think it was like 5.85. But yeah, his first sort of big race. So we shall see.
Quite interesting about this, actually, is this the only one on the dock that doesn't have flip-up rudders? I know some of the other ones.
Yeah, there's not many, but they're completely different to how they were when we built it. The boat's been reworked massively.
And another new boat here. Again, freshly launched, not many miles on it. So this is Biotherm. This is Paul Mayat. And another boat that's doing the ocean race. So he's heading over to the Caribbean and then back to the Mediterranean. Don't know much about this boat.
No, I mean, they've got a lot on. They're a new team. I think they've probably got a lot of experienced people, but they're still a new team. The boat's hardly been in the water very long at all. You see the guys are working on probably composite stuff there, which is pretty common with a new boat, but it's to get the boat ready for the route to run, but then also have in mind you're doing I think they have for the ocean race, I think they have a pit stop in Cape Verde, but then basically it's down to Cape Town.
Yeah.
So it's a long leg in itself. And obviously they've got to probably make some changes for the boat being fully crewed.
But Paul Mayat was the previous winner of the Route de Rhum, incredibly talented sailor. But I don't think we're going to see him set the world on fire in this race just because the boat's so new and he's got to get on to the ocean race.
Yeah.
And then the final boat on the dock Demain Saint-Loin, again a newcomer to the class, Nicolas Rouget. And this is an Owen Clark design. You looked after this for a while, didn't you,
I
Jeff?
did, yeah. Rich Wilson had it for 2016. Before that, it was Temenos, Dominic Wild's boat, 2006.
And then obviously Miranda had it for the Vendée.
Yeah. Yeah, when they finished the race, they realised there was quite a lot of damage to the keel, so it should have a new, well, almost definitely got a new keel. It was carbon before, but inevitably the new one will be steel. That's right, actually.
And there you go, a brief tour of the Imoca dock. Obviously there are many, many more boats here. So there's Class 40, there's Ultimes, there's the Ocean 50 trimarans, and then there's mono Rhum class and multi Rhum class. So quite a good selection of boats, and pretty fierce competition. I think it's going to be an interesting race.